The Space Marine is the Emperor's hammer, striking down his foes upon the anvil of war. The Imperial fleet is his sword, cleaving star systems from the grasp of the alien. The Astra Militarum is his shield, a billion souls standing between humanity and the dark. But the Officio Assassinorum, they are the poison in the enemy's cup, the unseen dagger, the silent judgment. They are the Emperor's final terrible mercy. Attributed to Inquisitor Lord Chevak, in the blood-soaked darkness of the 41st Millennium War is the only constant. It is a furnace that consumes galaxies, a maelstrom of unimaginable violence. We are taught to see the grand spectacle of this conflict. We see the indomitable Space Marines, transhuman demigods in ceramite armor descending from the heavens on pillars of fire. We see the numberless ranks of the Astra Militarum, trillions of men and women fighting and dying in muddy trenches on a million worlds, their names forgotten, their sacrifices mere statistics in a war of grinding, merciless attrition. We see the colossal Titans god machines that level cities with a single salvo, and the void ships of the Imperial Navy, miles-long cathedrals of destruction, dueling in the cold dark between stars. This is the Imperium of man, a colossal decaying empire of a million worlds besieged from all sides by aliens, heretics, mutants, and the insidious reality-bending powers of the warp. It is a regime built on the bones of its own citizens, waging an unwinnable war for survival. But this grand, brutal spectacle, it is a lie, or rather it is only half the truth. While billions perish in the fires of open declared battle, the true fate of the galaxy, the pivot upon which history turns, is often decided not by the hammer, but by the scalpel. Some of the greatest wars are not won by legions, but are prevented entirely by a single well-placed bullet fired from a mile away. The collapse of an entire sector is averted by a single drop of genetically tailored toxin administered to a rebellious planetary governor. An incipient chaos cult that could doom billions is shattered by a whispered lie that turns its demagogues against one another. The most dangerous war in a millennium is stopped dead by a single perfectly aimed blade thrust into the darkness of a greenskin command tent. This is the other war, the secret war. The war fought in the shadows beneath the notice of the masses in the corridors of power and the private chambers of tyrants. And the instrument of this war has a name spoken only in the highest and most terrified echelons of power, a name that carries the weight of ultimate authority and absolute dread, the Officio Assassinorum. They are not common murderers. A murderer has passion or greed or desperation. These things are far more terrifying. They are living weapons. They are the sanctioned, for their actions are authorized, sanctioned by the very highest authority in the Imperium, the High Lords of Terror themselves. They are the ultimate expression of the Emperor's will, a final, terrifying solution when diplomacy has failed, when the Inquisition's investigations are too slow, and when sending in the Imperial Guard would ignite a sector-wide civil war. They are the surgical strike that removes the cancerous heart of a rebellion before it can metastasize, the chilling guarantee that no one, no matter how powerful or well-defended, is beyond the Emperor's reach. Their secrecy is absolute. It is their primary shield and their most potent weapon. To the quadrillions of citizens across the Imperium, they simply do not exist. They are nothing more than myths, ghost stories. They are the chilling rumors that paranoid planetary governors tell to frighten their rivals, the shadowy figures that rebellious war masters joke about, right before one of them drops dead at the banquet table, a microscopic needle in his heart. Even the most decorated Lord General of the Militarum, or the most pious Inquisitor of the Ordo Hereticus, knows of them only as a dreaded last resort. To even request the deployment of an assassin is to admit absolute, catastrophic failure. It is to confess that you have lost control so completely that only the most extreme sanction can restore order. For the targets of the Officio Assassinorum are not just the Xenos warlord or the chaos-worshipping demagogue. Their targets are Imperial commanders who have grown too ambitious. They are planetary governors who have forgotten their oaths and begun to build their own empires. They are cardinals of the ecclesiarchy, whose faith has twisted into a dangerous heresy. They are at times even fellow High Lords of Terror when the intricate venomous politics of the Senatorum Imperialis turn deadly. The officio is the unseen hand that culls the Imperium's own the internal mechanism of terror, that keeps the colossal, rotting, bureaucratic edifice from finally collapsing under the weight of its own corruption and ambition. But we speak of the officio that temples the Clades as a faceless organization. We forget that the bullet must be fired by a hand, the blade must be guided by an eye, the poison must be delivered by a living agent. These weapons are, or at least were, human. This brings us to the central chilling question of their existence. What becomes of a human soul when its sole purpose from childhood is to be a hidden tool of state-sponsored murder? What is the secret life of an Imperial assassin? In this chronicle, we will journey beyond the veil of secrecy. We will step into the hidden fortresses of the assassin temples, hidden deep beneath the Imperial palace on Terra, or on fortified moon bases unknown to any star chart. We will uncover the brutal, merciless selection process that scours the Imperium's orphanages, the Schola Progenium, for those rare children with the correct aptitude for sanctioned slaughter. We will witness the agonizing, soul-destroying training regimens that take these children and systematically break them. We will see how their minds are shattered, their personalities erased, and their very beings remade into something new, something terrible. We will explore the warped and fractured psychology of a being designed for a single purpose, a Vindicator sniper forced into a state of absolute Zen-like patience for months on end, a Kalidas shapeshifter who lives so many lives she forgets her own face, an Eversaw berserker kept frozen in agony between missions pumped full of combat drugs that turn him into a literal incarnation of Imperial rage, and the Colexus, the soulless, the pariah whose very existence is a torment to all life around them. This is the story of those who sacrifice everything, not just their lives which are given freely, but their humanity, their names, their memories, their capacity for love or fear or hope. They are stripped bare of everything that makes them human, all in the name of a duty so secret it can never be acknowledged. This is the story of the Emperor's most terrifying servants, the ghosts who haunt the Imperium and the secret lives they are forced to lead. To forge an Imperial assassin, you must first destroy a human child. This process is not left to chance. It is a precise, cold, and systematic harvest. The Imperium of man wastes nothing least of all the children of its martyrs. Across the galaxy, scattered on countless worlds, are the Schola Progenium. These are the orphanages of the Imperium, grim, fortified institutions run by the sternest drill abbots and the most uncompromising sisters of the Adepta Sororitas. They take in the millions of sons and daughters of Imperial Guard officers, naval heroes, inquisitorial agents, and planetary governors who have given their lives in service to the throne. From the moment they arrive, these children known as progena are broken. Their grief is weakness, their individuality is heresy, their past is irrelevant. They are taught that their parents' sacrifice was a glorious gift, a debt that can only be repaid through their own absolute, unquestioning service. Their days are a relentless cycle of indoctrination, theological study, weapons drills, and brutal, often lethal combat training. The Schola Progenium is a factory designed to mass-produce the next generation of the Imperium's most zealous and elite servants, iron-willed commissars, fearless stormtroopers, pious sisters of battle, and fanatical agents of the ecclesiarchy. But within this already harsh ecosystem, other eyes are watching. They are not the instructors. They are quiet, unassuming officials who arrive unannounced bearing data slates with the highest level of clearance. They are the observers of the Officio Assassinorum, and they are not looking for the strongest, the most charismatic, or the most pious. They are looking for something else. They watch for the progenitor who moves through the crowd like a ghost unnoticed until it is too late. They watch the child who in a brutal cage fight disables his opponent, not with wild fury, but with a single precise anatomical strike. They watch the girl who can lie to a drill abbot with a calm heart and an unblinking eye sensing his questions before he even asks them. They watch for the rare, terrifying few who display an unnatural, chilling blankness to the world, the pariahs, whose very presence makes the faithful uncomfortable. These children are marked, their potential is noted, and they are pushed. The selection is not an invitation, it is a crucible. The final test for these marked progenitor is not a graduation ceremony, it is a calculated life or death scenario designed to shatter the last vestiges of their childhood. Imagine this two progenitor, both marked, both exceptional. They have been raised as siblings in the scholar, their bond forged in the shared trauma of their relentless training. They are sent on their final mission to infiltrate a secure compound and retrieve a data cache. They fight side by side, covering each other, a perfect team. They reach the final vault. The data cache is inside, but as the door seals behind them, a single canister of deadly neurotoxin vents into the room. A timer begins to count down. In the center of the room, beneath a single harsh light, lies one breathing apparatus. The observers watch from behind a dark mirror. They are not interested in who is stronger. They are interested in who is faster to abandon their humanity. The child who tries to share the mask fails. The child who hesitates weeping for their friend fails. The child who offers themselves in sacrifice fails. The one who succeeds is the one who, in that split second of realization, sees their sibling not as a friend, but as an obstacle. The one who feigns a hug and drives a boot knife into their friend's kidney. The one who calmly watches their oldest companion choke and die on the floor before picking up the mask, securing the data cache, and waiting patiently for the door to open. The winner does not celebrate, they do not mourn, they just survive. They have proven they possess the one non-negotiable trait required by the officio, the absolute sociopathic capacity to place the mission above all else, even above their own soul. For these victors, there is no return to the scholar. They are quietly escorted from the training ground by the robed figures who have been watching them their entire lives. They are placed aboard a black, unmarked transport vessel, a ship with no windows, and a Geller field that hums with a sickening cold energy. As the ship slips into the void, the final step of the harvest is taken. Deep within the data vaults of the Adeptus Administratum, their files are accessed. Their names, their origins, their lineage, all of it is wiped. A final note is added: progenitor designation. Killed in action during final training exercise. Posthumously awarded the laurels of service. File sealed. Their friends at the Shola will be told they died a hero's death. They will be mourned for a day, and then, as is the Imperial way, they will be forgotten. The children are for all official purposes dead. They have vanished from the Imperium. They have no name. They have no past. They have no future. They are ghosts, phantoms belonging to no one, except the High Lords of Terror. Their one-way journey ends at a place that does not officially exist. It may be a fortress hidden in the blinding deserts of Mars, or a sector of the Imperial Palace on Terra so deep and so secret that not even the custodes patrol its gates. They are marched into vast, silent halls of obsidian and steel, their footsteps the only sound. They are stripped of their Shola uniforms and given a simple black body glove. Their heads are shaved, and as they stand shivering in this cathedral of shadows, a voice echoes from the darkness, a voice that is not angry, but is utterly devoid of life. You are nothing. You have no name. You have no self. You are a vessel. We will empty you of your fear, your weakness, and your humanity, and we will refill you with the Emperor's divine purpose. You are dead to the world, and you will be reborn as judgment. The harvest is complete. The true agony is about to begin. The fortresses of the Officio Assassinorum are places of profound and terrifying silence. They do not exist on any map. Some are buried miles beneath the continent-spanning sprawl of the Imperial Palace, shielded by psionic baffles and layers of adamantium so thick that not even a psychic scream could escape. Others are carved into the lifeless hearts of asteroids drifting through uncharted space. Some of the most infamous, like the primary fortress of the Vindicare Temple, are said to be located in the blinding, radiation-saturated deserts of Mars, their true nature hidden from even the inquisitive gaze of the Adeptus Mechanicus. The architecture is a monument to inhumanity. The recruits call these places the Nameless Halls, and for good reason. There is no art. There are no banners, no statues, no icons of the Imperial Creed, save for the stark, two-headed Aquila, which here feels less like a symbol of faith and more like the sigil of a predator. The walls are unadorned, forged from cold black stone or dull, non-reflective steel. The light is always artificial, a sterile, flat white that casts no shadows and offers no warmth. The air is filtered, recycled, and tastes of ozone and antiseptic stripping the recruits of even the memory of a natural world. There is no day or night, only the cycle measured by chimes that regulate every second of their existence. The very environment is a weapon, the first and most constant tool of their re-education, designed to induce sensory deprivation and enforce absolute conformity. Everything here is functional. Everything is designed to break the individual. And so the breaking begins. This is the second stage of their transformation, the deliberate, systematic, and agonizing destruction of the self. The new arrivals are no longer people. They are potentials. They are subjected to a regime that attacks the very foundations of their mind. Sleep is withheld for days, then weeks, until their consciousness begins to fragment. They are starved, then fed nutrient paste, teaching their bodies to crave only what is given. They are forced to perform agonizing physical tasks until their muscles tear and their bones crack, only to be healed by callous chirurgeons and forced to begin again. But the true torture is psychological. The robed masters, their faces always hidden behind masks of bone or polished silver, use every tool at their disposal. The children are isolated in pitch-black chambers for months, their only companion the constant low-frequency broadcast of litanies. The self is a lie. The mission is the only truth. Your will is not your own. You are the blade in the Emperor's hand. A blade does not question. A blade does not feel. They are subjected to extreme psych indoctrination. Their minds are flayed open by telepaths, their happiest memories a kind word from a scholar instructor. The face of the friend they betrayed to get here are dredged up and analyzed as weaknesses. These memories are then paired with excruciating chemically induced pain until the very thought of their past life, of a personal connection, of a personal name, triggers a Pavlovian response of agony and self-loathing. Their ego, the very concept of I, is systematically dissolved in these caustic chemicals of indoctrination. They are taught that their identity is a sin, a vanity that endangers the Imperium. They are broken down piece by piece until the child inside is nothing more than a shattered, weeping ruin. And only then from that hollowed-out shell are they rebuilt. Their only identity becomes the temple. Their only purpose becomes obedience. Their only emotion becomes loyalty, not a warm, human loyalty, but the cold, perfect loyalty of a machine to its operator. They cease to be individuals and become finally acolytes. Once the mind is a blank slate, the masters conduct the final and most critical phase of this initiation, the sorting. During the breaking, the masters were not just torturing, they were observing. They watched how the recruits broke. They analyzed their every response. And based on these innate core aptitudes, the acolyte's destiny is sealed. The acolyte who endured the long isolation not by screaming, but by entering a near catatonic state of absolute stillness, the one who demonstrated an almost supernatural, inhuman patience, the one whose hand when firing a rifle was as steady as bedrock, that one is marked. They are taken by the clayed masters of the Vindicare Temple to become the patient hunter. The acolyte, who when finally pushed past the brink exploded, not into tears, but into a frenzy of shocking, unrestrained, and lethal violence. The one who in a combat test did not just defeat, but annihilated their opponent with primal fury, their body already reacting to the flood of latent combat stimulants. They are dragged away by the brutal handlers of the Eversaw Temple to be chained and honed into the incarnation of rage. The acolyte who survived not through strength or patience, but through cunning, the one who learned to mimic the vocal tics of their guards, who could lie their way out of punishments, who showed an eerie sociopathic talent for emotional manipulation and adaptation. That one vanishes, taken by the mistresses of the Calidus Temple to become the master of deception. And then there are the others, the ones who were a curse from the day they arrived. The recruits, the other children, avoided the ones who made the hardened drill masters physically ill, the ones whose very presence in the indoctrination chambers caused the psychers to recoil in pain. These are the psychic blanks, the pariahs. They are the rarest and most dreaded of all. They are handed over to the silent, terrifying wardens of the Colexus Temple to be imprisoned and weaponized as the soulless. This sorting is the acolyte's final death. The last flicker of the person they might have been is extinguished. They are now and forever a Vindicare, an Eversaw, a Kalidus, a Colexus. They have a new family, a new purpose, and a new god. And the demands of this new god are absolute. An Imperial assassin does not act. It is acted upon. They are a projectile, and a projectile must be aimed and fired by a hand. That hand belongs to the most powerful and secretive individuals in the Imperium. Deep within the inner sanctums of the Imperial Palace on Holy Terra sits the Senatorum Imperialis, the Council of the High Lords of Terra. These 12 individuals are the masters of mankind ruling the Imperium in the Emperor's name. Among them sits the Paternoval Envoy of the Navigators, the Fabricator General of Mars, the Lord Commander Militant of the Imperial Guard, and the Inquisitorial Representative. And seated in a high-backed chair of obsidian, often silent for entire conclaves, is the Grand Master of Assassins. He is one of the most powerful and certainly the most feared human beings alive. His true name is known to none, save perhaps the Emperor himself. He is the Master of Secrets, the ultimate executioner, the one man who can, with a single word, erase any other member of the Imperial elite from existence. His power is a constant, terrifying presence in the political landscape of Terra. The other High Lords despise and fear him in equal measure. The Lord Commander Militant sees him as a dishonorable but necessary tool, a way to decapitate an enemy command structure without the honest cost of 1,000,000 soldiers. The Inquisitorial Representative views the Grand Master as a dangerous rival. The Inquisition hunts the hidden threat, but the Officio executes it often with a finality that robs the Ordos of their precious investigations. The Grand Master's relationship with them is a constant cold war of favors, threats, and jurisdictional battles. He holds the ultimate trump card, while an Inquisitor can be declared. Hereticus, the Grand Master of Assassins, answers to no one but the Senatorum as a whole. He is the check and balance against their individual ambition, and they all know it. The secret of the Officio is not just its existence, but its political function. It is the weapon of last resort, and its deployment is a matter of cold, brutal calculus. Let us witness such a decision. The scene is the Chamber of the High Lords, a vast vaulted room where the air is thick with the competing gravitas of a dozen tyrants. A flickering hololith hangs in the center of the room, displaying the image of a proud, sneering man in a planetary governor's regalia, Lord Governor Suleiman Vor of the industrial world Cygnus Prime. A representative from the Adeptus Terra speaks, his voice a droning monotone. Lord Governor Vor's tithes are 3 years in arrears. Production of Lehman Russ tank components has fallen by 40%. Our auditors have been denied access to the primary hive spires. He cites local unrest and Xenos pirate activity. The Lord Commander Militant scoffs. Unrest, he is the unrest. My spies report he has been reinforcing his personal defense force with mercenaries and has begun construction of his own void ships. This is secession, plain and simple. I request a writ of compliance. Give me 3 guard regiments and the phalanx sector fleet. We will make an example of him. The ecclesiarch slams his gilded staff on the floor. An example. His world is rife with the heresy of pride. He must be purged. His cities burned, his populace reconsecrated in the Emperor's light. The debate rages. An invasion would take years. It would cripple the sector's tank production, indefinitely starving nearby war zones of vital materiel. A purge would kill billions of loyal, productive Imperial citizens. The cost in blood and resources is deemed inefficient. All eyes eventually turn to the silent figure in the obsidian chair. The Grand Master of Assassins has not moved. He steeples his gloved fingers. "You are all loud," he whispers, and the chamber falls silent. You see a rebellious world. I see a single arrogant man. Governor Vore has a wife. He has 2 sons. He has a favored general. He trusts them. His power structure is a pyramid built on these personal loyalties. He leans forward slightly. The Lord Militant's invasion will cost 5 billion lives and halt production for a decade. The ecclesiarch's purge will create a martyr. My solution will cost 4. A chill settles on the room. The Grand Master continues. The governor, his sons, his general. A surgical simultaneous removal. A single night of precise, undeniable terror. His replacement, the Duchess of the Underhive, is already a contact of the Ordo Hereticus. She is ambitious and, more importantly, frightened. She will restore the tithes before her predecessor's body is cold. He looks at the Lord Commander. No invasion. He looks at the ecclesiarch. No martyrs. He formally tables the motion I request, the sanctioning of Clade execution. The vote is taken. It is unanimous. A man's entire family line has just been condemned to death in a cold, bureaucratic process, a simple calculation of logistics. The order is passed from the High Lords to the Grand Master's inner circle, the Directorate. The political nuance, the debate, the why, all of it is stripped away. It is condensed into a sterile, encrypted data packet. The order does not say Governor Vore is a traitor who is disrupting the war effort. The order simply reads, Operation Broken Crown Targets. 4. See attached files. Location Cygnus Prime, Hive Primus. Execution Simultaneous Absolute. Clade to be assigned. The Directorate reviews the file. The targets are in separate high-security locations within the same palace. This is not a job for one bullet. It is not a job for a single shapeshifter. It requires overwhelming, terrifying, and inescapable force. And the primary target, Lord Governor Suleiman Vore himself, in his panic room, deep beneath the spire. That file is sent to the Calexis Temple, for no physical shield can stop a being that kills the soul. The assassins are activated. A Kalidas acolyte studies the face of the general's mistress. A Vindica sniper begins calibrating his Exitus rifle for the atmosphere of Cygnus Prime. An Eversaur is pulled screaming from his cryo-slumber. A Colexus is led silent and dreadful from his cell. They are not told why. They do not know they are part of a coordinated political execution. The Vindicare does not know about the Eversaur. The Kalidas knows only her own mission. They are given a name, a place, and a time. Their ignorance is their shield. It is the final layer of control. They are not permitted the luxury of morality or doubt or even context. They are not judges. They are not executioners. They are simply the instruments of a judgment passed by others. They are the scalpel, the hammer, the poison, the clade. And their only purpose is to strike. If the Eversaur is the Emperor's rage, the Vindicare is his patience. And in the 41st millennium, patience is a far more profound form of torture. To be a Vindicare is to be a living statue. Their training is not just marksmanship, it is the absolute mastery of self. They are taught to slow their own heart, to regulate their body temperature, to enter a trance-like state known as death meditation. In this state, they cease to be a living creature and become, for all intents and purposes, a part of the landscape. Let us look at one. Operative Praesel. That is not a name, but a designation. He has been in position for 23 standard days. His position is a cramped, filth-encrusted ventilation duct, 2 miles deep in the underbelly of a heretical cardinal's palace. He has not moved a muscle in that time. His body is encased in a skin-tight chameleonic stealth suit that constantly adapts its temperature and texture to match the surrounding grime. His Exitus rifle, his holy instrument, is already sighted on the small, reinforced plasteel window 2,000 meters across the courtyard, through which his target, the cardinal, is scheduled to pass. The firing window will last 4 seconds. It will occur in, by his calculations, another 8 days. He does not eat. His suit's rebreather systems capture every molecule of moisture from his breath, and perspiration filters it and feeds it back into his body through a nutrient line. He does not defecate. His internal biology has been so rigidly controlled that his body produces almost no waste. His heart beats a low, steady 10 times per minute, just enough to keep his brain and trigger finger oxygenated. He is not bored. He is not tired. He is not anxious. He is simply waiting. His mind is not his own. It is a fortress of mental discipline. He does not think of his past. He has none. He does not think of his future. There is only the mission. His entire consciousness is focused on a single point in space and time. He visualizes the shot. He recites the litanies of marksmanship, the ballistic catechisms, the prayers of windage and gravity. He sees the target's head. He sees the red bloom. He sees the mission objective terminated. He runs this simulation 1,000,000 times until the action is no longer a choice, but a preordained fact. He is a ghost haunting the present, waiting for the future he has already willed into existence. This is the psychological torture of the Vindica Temple. They are masters of the long hunt and their primary victim before the target is themselves. For a Vindicator, there is no margin for error. There is no second shot. There is no covering fire. Their creed is simple and absolute. Unus, finis unus, spiritus. One shot, one soul. To miss is not just a failure. It is the ultimate heresy. A Vindicator is taught that their bullet is not a piece of metal. It is the physical manifestation of the Emperor's judgment. It is the divine sentence passed down by the High Lords, delivered by his chosen instrument. To miss that shot is to fail the Emperor himself. It is to prove that you, the instrument, were flawed. And a flawed instrument must be broken. This philosophy breeds a unique, cold, and terrible psychology. The Vindicator feels no pity for his target. The target is already dead. They just haven't realized it yet. The Vindicator is merely the functionary who updates the universe on this fact. He feels no hatred. Hatred is a passion, and passion makes the hand tremble. He feels no pride. Pride is a vanity of the self, and the self was burned away in the temple. What he feels is the crushing, colossal, and singular weight of responsibility. The fate of a sector, the lives of 1 billion souls, may rest on the microscopic muscle contraction of his trigger finger. He is the fulcrum upon which history pivots. And so his entire existence is dedicated to becoming a perfect, infallible machine of delivery. When the shot is finally taken, when the target's head evaporates in a fine red mist, there is no elation, no adrenaline rush. There is only completion. The mission is over. And this is perhaps the final secret of the Vindicator's life, the crushing emptiness that follows. Operative Prazel retracts his rifle, cleans it with ritualistic precision, even as the palace alarms begin to blare, and melts back into the ventilation shafts. His exfiltration is as silent and methodical as his infiltration. Weeks later, he returns to the Vindicator Temple, a silent grey fortress on a forgotten moon. He does not report to a cheering debriefing room. He does not receive a medal. He is met by a Clade Master who takes his rifle, inspects it for any imperfections, and nods once. Report to Chamber 7 Alpha. Chamber 7 Alpha is a grey, windowless, soundproofed cell 10 feet by 10 feet. It contains a mat. Nothing else. Prazel enters. He cleans his rifle, disassembling and reassembling it until its mechanisms are flawless. He cleans himself, and then he sits on the mat. And he waits. He will wait for a day or a month or a year. He will not speak. He will not be spoken to. He will meditate on the litanies. He will wait for the next data slate to be slipped under his door, bearing the name of his next target. This is his life. The agonizing, drawn-out torment of the hunt, followed by the absolute, crushing void of the silence. The Vindicare assassin is the most patient being in the galaxy, and his only true companion is solitude. The bond between a Vindicare assassin and his weapon is more profound than any human relationship. It is a holy union of flesh and steel. His primary instrument is the Exitus rifle. This is not a mass-produced weapon stamped out by a forge world. It is a masterpiece, a holy relic, handcrafted by the tech artisans of the Adeptus Mechanicus, who are sworn to the exclusive service of the Vindicare Temple. Each rifle is a unique work of art, perfectly balanced its internal mechanisms, whisper quiet its scope, a miracle of Imperial technology capable of resolving a target's face from orbit. When an acolyte graduates to the rank of assassin, they are bonded to their rifle. Its machine spirit, its spiritus mechanicus, is slaved to their unique biometric signature. In the hands of another, it is a useless piece of metal. In the hands of its master, it is an extension of their will. The Vindicator knows every groove, every imperfection, every subtle vibration of his weapon. He can disassemble and reassemble it, blindfolded in a sandstorm in zero gravity. The rifle is his only companion, his confessor, his god. He trusts it more than he trusts himself, for the rifle cannot be weak. It cannot doubt. It only is. But the true genius of the Vindicare lies not just in the rifle, but in its payload. A Vindicare assassin does not carry mere bullets. He carries solutions. His ammunition is a mobile arsenal, a set of keys designed to unlock any defense. The choice of round is a strategic art form, the secret that separates a master from a novice. First, there is the standard, the Exitus round. This is the artist's brush. A custom-made armor-piercing shell, dense and perfectly weighted. It is capable of punching through the plasteel walls of a bunker, the carapace armor of a Tyranid warrior, or the ceramite helmet of a Chaos Space Marine. It is the round for a simple kill. But targets are rarely simple. What if the target is an orc warboss clad in cobbled-together mega-armor, standing behind a barricade of solid rockcrete? For this, the Vindicare selects the Turbo Penetrator round. This is a two-stage projectile. Upon firing, a secondary melter charge ignites, superheating the tip of the round into a blinding hot spike of molten metal just before impact. It does not punch through the target's defenses. It vaporizes its way through turning tank hulls and fortress walls into incandescent slag before finding the flesh within. What if the target is a high-ranking Genestealer patriarch, a creature of alien biology capable of shrugging off wounds that would kill a dozen men? The Vindicare loads the Hellfire round. The round's solid core is replaced with a vial of hyper-concentrated, genetically tailored mutagenic acid. On impact, it shatters, injecting this virulent payload directly into the target's biology. It is a horrific death. The target's body dissolves from the inside out, its own biomatter turning against it in an explosive, agonizing cellular cascade. And what of the most difficult targets? The heretical cardinal, protected by a shimmering Rosarius the rogue trader, shielded by a crackling displacement field, the Xenos Psyker wrapped in a cocoon of raw warp energy. For these, the Vindicare loads his most esoteric and forbidden ammunition, the Shield Breaker round. The technology for this round is ancient and barely understood. It does not carry a physical warhead. Instead, it is a sophisticated disruptive projectile. It impacts the energy shield, and for a fraction of a second broadcasts a frequency that breaks the shield's harmonic, causing it to fail spectacularly. The Vindicare often fires 2 shots in less than a second, the first a shield breaker to shatter the defense, the second an Exitus Hellfire round to claim the soul. This mastery of ballistics is the stuff of legend. Every Vindicare temple is a library of impossible shots of legendary assassinations that defy physics. There is the story of Operative Silex tasked with eliminating the renegade Psyker governor of Varun. The governor, paranoid, surrounded himself at all times with a choir of lesser Psykers, their combined mental energies forming an impenetrable wall. Silex waited for 9 days watching. He observed that at precisely the hour of gloom, the choir would shift, and for a single 1-second interval, a psychic gap would open as two of the psychers changed position. But the governor was still shielded, held in the arms of his bodyguard, a massive Ogrin slave. Silex fired one shot, a turbo-penetrator round. It went through the Ogrin's skull, through the governor's shielded heart, and embedded itself in the wall behind him, killing both instantly. But the most infamous tale is that of the Impossible Saint. The target was the arch-heretic of Solstice, a charismatic demagogue who had turned an entire sector against the Imperium. He was to be executed publicly, but the execution was a trap meant to lure out Imperial agents. The heretic stood on a high scaffold, a captured sister of battle held in front of him as a human shield, her body blocking his entirely. The Vindicar operative Lyra had only one option. She aimed not at the heretic, she aimed at the sister's helmet. She fired a single Exitus round. The round struck the thick, reinforced optical lens of the sister's helmet. It struck at a perfect angle, a 1 in a trillion shot. The round did not penetrate. It ricocheted. It deflected at a precise, calculated 30-degree angle, striking the heretic, who was gloating just over the sister's shoulder, directly between the eyes. The heretic dropped his head, exploding. The sister of battle, unharmed save for a cracked eye lens, was left standing, bewildered, as the crowd erupted into chaos. This is the ruthlessness and the perfection of the Vindicar. It is not enough to kill. They must kill in a way that is total, undeniable, and absolute. They will sacrifice the hostage. They will shoot through the hostage. Or if the Emperor wills it and their calculations are perfect, they will perform a miracle of violence, a shot so perfect it borders on the divine. For in their hands the rifle is not a tool of war, it is an instrument of judgment. If the Vindicar is the Imperium's patience, the Calidus is its deceit. She is the snake in the garden, the face you trust, the hand you hold right before the knife finds your heart. Her battleground is not the trench or the sniper's nest. It is the mind, the social circle, the political arena. And her greatest weapon is the ultimate betrayal. To become this weapon, the Calidus acolyte must surrender her very form. Her initiation is an agony that rivals even the Eversaws. She is taken to a biolaboratory deep within the temple, a sterile chrome room that smells of chemicals and sterilized blood. Here she is introduced to her god, and her curse the drug known as polymorphine. It is not a simple injection. It is a fundamental biological assault. The hyperpotent technoviral substance is pumped directly into her bloodstream, her spinal column, her bone marrow. The acolyte's body convulses, seized by a pain that transcends mortal understanding. This is not the clean pain of a wound. It is the agonizing, terrifying sensation of dissolution. Her bones soften, her joints unlock. Her muscles liquefy, and her flesh turns malleable, her entire biological structure breaking down into a state of genetic flux. She screams, but her vocal cords are warping, her jaw unhinging. She is consciously, agonizingly unmade. This process is repeated again and again until her body learns to accept the drug, to become a living piece of clay that the drug can then sculpt. The polymorphine permanently rewrites her DNA, giving her conscious control over her own cellular structure. She can now grow taller, shorter, change her sex, her race, her voice, her fingerprints. She can become anyone. But this physical agony is nothing compared to the psychological price. This is the great, terrifying secret of the Calidus Temple, the death of identity. A Vindicar masters patience, an Eversa masters rage. A Calidus must master everyone. To kill a target, she may spend decades in deep cover. She doesn't just mimic a person, she becomes them. She must study her infiltration target, a high-ranking general's aide, a planetary duke's wife, a cultist's trusted lieutenant for months, learning every gesture, every vocal tick, every private memory. Then she makes the kill, disposes of the body, injects the polymorphine, and takes their place. And she lives that life. She lives it flawlessly every single day. Imagine this operative Lachesis is assigned to eliminate a rebellious sector lord. but he is too well guarded. The only way in is through his new bride, a young noblewoman from an allied house. Lachesis spends a year as the bride's body servant, then on the eve of the wedding, she replaces her. She marries the sector lord. She lives as his wife for 10 years. She must be the perfect wife. She must be loving, supportive, and completely convincing. She learns his fears, his hopes, his deepest secrets. She bears his children. She raises them, tucks them into bed, kisses their foreheads. She feels their small arms wrap around her neck. And every day she must remember that none of it is real, that she is a lie, that the man she shares a bed with is her target, and the children she is raising are the offspring of her enemy. But the human mind is not designed for this. It cannot live a lie for so long without the lie becoming a truth. The original personality, the Shola progenitor, who was broken and remade, is buried under layers and layers of false identities. She has been a dozen people, 100. After a decade of being Lady Vorl, does operative Lachesis even exist anymore? This is the Calidus' greatest danger. They go native, they forget the mission, they begin to believe their own deception. The temple calls this identity creep, and its solution is brutal. Periodically, Calidus operatives are recalled to the temple for psychic sanitation. They are strapped to a cold steel chair, and the temple's telepaths and chirurgeons go to work. They are not gentle. They are not therapists. They are butchers of the mind. They flay open her consciousness and violently rip out the false memories. They burn away the love she felt for her children. They scour her mind of the genuine affection she may have developed for her target. It is an excruciating, disorienting process, a mental reset that leaves her hollow, shaking and cold. But loyal. This is her secret life, a series of stolen moments, false loves, and manufactured emotions, punctuated by agonizing mental purges. And then one day the signal comes, a single encrypted pict message, a coded phrase whispered by a servant who is actually her temple handler. The order is simple: execute. The Calidus, who has spent 20 years as the target's most trusted advisor, his friend, his brother-in-arms, will sit with him, sharing a glass of Amasec. They will laugh about old campaigns, and as the target turns to look at the stars, she will pull a blade from her sleeve and slide it between his ribs, whispering the final coded activation phrase in his ear, so he knows exactly who has betrayed him. The Calidus, who has been a loving mother for a decade, will receive the signal. That night, she will walk down the hall past the rooms of the children she raised. She will enter her husband's bedchamber, and she will murder him in his sleep. She will not shed a tear. She cannot. The part of her that could weep for this man was burned out of her on a steel chair back at the temple. She is in the end nothing but the mission, a hollow shape waiting for the next role to fill. The Calidus is an artist of infiltration. Her mission begins not with violence, but with obsession. The first phase is insertion and observation. She is a ghost, a non-person. She might spend a year working as a scullery maid in the target's kitchens, a mute scribe in his archives, or a low-level technician in the palace's power grid. During this time, she is a sponge, absorbing everything. She uses sophisticated audio dampeners to listen through walls. She plants microscopic pict thieves to record private conversations. She learns the target's gait, his private jokes, his favorite food, the way he sighs when he is tired, the precise timbre of his voice when he is angry. She learns his network, who he trusts, who he fears, who he loves, and she selects her vessel, the person whose life she will steal. The second phase is replacement. This is a moment of quiet, perfect violence. The Calidus corners her chosen vessel, the trusted aide, the captain of the guard, the mistress. There is no struggle. It is a precise, silent kill. The body is disposed of in a way that leaves no trace, a vat of acid, an industrial incinerator, a deep chasm. Then the agonizing transformation. The Calidus retreats to a dark, secure bolt hole. She injects the polymorphine. She endures the excruciating flesh-warping agony. Her bones snap and reform. Her muscles flow like wax. Her face melts and resolidifies into a perfect copy of her victim. She changes her height, her weight, her eye color, her fingerprints. She even alters her vocal cords to replicate the voice perfectly. When she emerges, she is that person. She walks into the target's life and no one is the wiser. To aid in this deception, and for the final kill, the Kalidas carries a unique and terrifying arsenal. Her primary weapon is the Citan Phase Sword. This is not a blade of mere metal or energy. It is a relic of impossible ancient and heretical technology, believed to be forged from the solidified sentient metal of a captured star god. The phase sword does not cut. It phases. It vibrates at an unnatural frequency, allowing it to pass harmlessly through solid matter. It can pass through armor, through walls, through a target's ribcage. Then, with a flick of the assassin's wrist, the blade rematerializes inside the target. It is the perfect assassination weapon. A Kalidas disguised as a common servant can walk right past a bodyguard in full Terminator armor, phase her blade through his chest plate, and solidify it within his heart, all without ever appearing to be a threat. But the true power of a Kalidas, her most devastating secret, is not that she can kill anyone. It is that she can destroy anyone, often without a single drop of blood. The most famous example in Imperial history is the downfall of the High Lord Goge Vandir, the apostate cardinal, who hijacked the Imperium in the 36th Millennium, plunging it into the rain of blood. Vandir was the most powerful man in the galaxy. He was a paranoid tyrant ruling from a fortress on Terra, defended by fleets, armies, and his fanatical all-female bodyguard legion, the brides of the Emperor, the predecessors to the Adepta Sororitas. An Eversor would have died in the first hallway. A Vindicare would have had no shot. The Officio Assassinorum dispatched a single Kalidas operative, Miria. She did not try to kill Vandir. Not at first. That was impossible. Instead, she spent months infiltrating his inner circle, posing as one of his most pious and trusted advisors. She gained his confidence. She learned his secrets. She saw the madness in his eyes, but she also saw the genuine, albeit twisted faith of his bodyguards. Miria understood that Vandir's power did not come from his guns. It came from the belief of the brides of the Emperor. So she set out to destroy that belief. She did not kill him. She exposed him. In the final confrontation, she gained an audience with the leader of the brides, Alicia Dominica. Miria revealed her true nature, a loyal servant of the true Emperor. When Dominica scoffed, Miria did the unthinkable. She convinced Dominica to come with her to walk directly into the throne room and confront Vandire. When Vandir, enraged at their intrusion, ordered them executed, Dominica still hesitated. So Vandir, in his paranoid madness, condemned her. He screamed, "I don't have time for this. I have a galaxy to run." It was Miria the Kalidas who whispered the final devastating lie that was in fact a truth. She told Dominica to take her final test of faith, to walk directly to the Golden Throne itself, to the Emperor's psychic presence, and ask him if their cause was just. Dominica did. She and her retinue entered the throne room, a place forbidden to all, and stood before the blinding psychic godhood of the Emperor. No one knows what they saw. But when they returned, their faith was shattered, and their eyes were filled with a cold, righteous fury. They saw Vandir for the mad, heretical blasphemer he was. Vandir, seeing his power base crumble, shrieked at them, "I am the Emperor. I am your god." It was Alicia Dominica, leader of the brides, who stepped forward, raised her power sword, and uttered the immortal words, "You are not the Emperor. You are a traitor." And she beheaded him on the steps of his own throne. The Kalidas operative Miria simply vanished. Her mission was complete. She had not killed the tyrant. She had convinced his most loyal followers to do it for her. She had not used a single bullet. She had used the truth as a weapon, and with it she had toppled an empire. That is the true power of the Kalidas. If the Kalidas is the hidden poison, the Eversor is the nerve gas. It is the atom bomb. It is the mailed fist of the Emperor wrapped in barbed wire and soaked in accelerant. The Eversor is not a scalpel, it is a chainsaw. It is deployed when the High Lords of Terror do not wish to send a message, but to scream a warning across an entire sector written in blood and fire and screams. And the most terrifying secret of the Eversor Temple is this: its operatives do not live in any recognizable sense. They are not agents waiting in a safe house. They are not monks meditating in a cell. They are monsters in a cage, deep within the fortified subterranean vaults of the Eversor Temple. In halls kept at a sub-zero temperature lie the crypts of the damned. Here row upon row of cryostasis coffins stand in the freezing mist. Inside each, floating in a slurry of nutrient-rich preservative chemicals, is an Eversor assassin. They are kept in this state of suspended animation sometimes for centuries between their missions. To keep an Eversor awake would be impossible, suicidal, for they are not men. They are weapons, and a weapon must be sheathed. A closer look at the figure in the ice reveals the horror of their creation. The human form is barely recognizable. It is a grotesque parody of flesh, a living nightmare of biological engineering. Their skin is a pallid gray, crisscrossed with a web of thick black tubes that pulse, slowly disappearing into surgically implanted ports along their spine and chest. These tubes are not just for life support. They are the delivery system for the cocktail of chemicals that defines their existence. This is the crafting process. An Eversor acolyte is not just trained, they are manufactured. They are taken and systematically brutally remade from the cellular level up. Their bones are hollowed out and reinforced with osseo-ceramic composites. Their muscle fibers are stripped and replaced with bundles of vat-grown, hyperdense synthetic muscle, giving them the strength to punch through plasteel and the speed to dodge gunfire. They are given a secondary heart, and sometimes a third designed to pump a toxic slurry of chemicals, not blood, through their veins. This chemical cocktail is a witch's brew of hyperstimulants, potent analgesics that block all pain, and psycho-indoctrination agents that burn away every emotion except for two: absolute loyalty to the Emperor and an endless, incandescent, ecstatic rage. They are no longer human. They are biological engines of destruction designed to burn with an impossible intensity for a few glorious, horrific hours, and then burn out completely. The Eversor Temple knows its operatives are disposable. In fact, they are designed to be. The activation of an Eversor is not a briefing. It is an unleashing. When the High Lords pass their judgment, the order reaches the temple. A single cryo coffin is selected. The mission data the targets face, the location, is not given to the Eversor as a file. It is branded directly into their brain, injected as a series of hypnotic trigger images. Then the awakening begins. The icy slurry drains from the coffin. The tubes attached to the Eversor's body begin to pump. Not life-sustaining fluids, but the combat drugs. A flood of chemicals with names like Fury Onslaught and Carnus's Vengeance are force-injected directly into their multiple hearts. From the Eversor's perspective, it is a journey from the cold, silent void of cryosleep directly into the heart of a sun. Their eyes snap open. There is no confusion, no grogginess. There is only a single overwhelming, white-hot, all-consuming sensory input: pain and rage. The drugs ignite their nervous system, turning every cell into a screaming furnace of agony and power. Their new artificial muscles convulse, snapping their restraints. Their hearts hammer against their ribs at 500 beats per minute. The indoctrination takes hold. The pain is not an inhibitor, it is a catalyst. The agony is translated by their shattered minds into righteous fury. The face of the target branded into their memory becomes the source of their agony, the one single thing in the universe they must destroy to make the pain stop. The coffin lid bursts open. The Eversor rises. They do not speak. They do not plan. They roar. It is a sound that is not human. A high-pitched psychotic scream that echoes through the activation chamber, a sound of such pure, primal hatred that it causes the hardened, robed temple servitors to flinch. They are not screaming at their handlers. They are screaming at the universe. They are screaming for the blood of the traitor. And in that scream, A single distorted word can be heard repeated over and over, the only anchor in the storm of their madness. Emperor, Emperor, Emperor. The beast is awake, and it is hungry. An Eversaur is not deployed, it is launched. There is no stealth transport, no quiet infiltration. The screaming, drug-saturated assassin is strapped into a single-occupant Hell Fury drop pod, a narrow armored coffin attached to a powerful plasma drive. This pod is fired from a high-orbiting void ship, becoming a man-made meteor aimed at a single point on the planet below. There is no attempt at a landing. There is only impact. Let us return to that ecstasy spire, where the target Air Primus Bastion celebrates his rebellion in a haze of decadent noise and narcotics. His Fortress nightclub is the most secure, most populated, most public location he has. He believes himself untouchable, surrounded by hundreds of his elite guards and fawning followers. His belief is shattered by a sound like the end of the world. The drop pod burning with atmospheric re-entry does not knock on the door. It punches straight through the ferrocrete roof of the spire, crashing through 3 floors of the nightclub, before embedding itself white-hot and hissing in the center of the main dance floor. For a single terrified second, the music stops. There is only the sound of crackling metal. The front of the pod does not open. It detonates, showering the nearest bodyguards in superheated shrapnel. From the fire and smoke, the Eversaur erupts. It is a symphony of screams. The Eversaur moves at a speed that the human eye can barely register, a black and red blur of absolute violence. Before the guards can even raise their lasguns, it is among them. Its primary weapon is the Neurogauntlet, a grotesque clawed fist, each finger tipped with a hypervelocity syringe filled with deadly toxins. The Eversaur does not just stab, it pulps. A single strike from the gauntlet sends a man's head exploding in a spray of bone and liquefied brain matter. It punches its fist straight through the chest plate of a guard, injects its toxins, and retracts its hand, leaving the man to collapse, his insides dissolving. Its other hand wields the executioner pistol, a brutal hybrid of a bolt gun and a needle rifle. It fires volleys of explosive-tipped metal-flecked shards that shred flesh and armor with equal contempt. The Eversaur's progress is not a firefight. It is a natural disaster. It is a red storm, a living, screaming hurricane of death. It does not use doorways. It punches new ones through solid walls, its synthetic muscles, pulverizing reinforced plasteel. It does not stop to fight. It kills as it moves its mind focused on the one singular branded image of its target. The Air Primus Bastion screams in terror and flees his elite guard, forming a wall of bodies. It is a useless gesture. The Eversaur smashes through them as if they were paper. It leaps 20 feet into the air, landing on a raised gantry, tearing a heavy stubber from its mounting and using it as a club. It is struck by dozens of Las Blast's rounds that would kill a normal man, but its combat drugs and pain blockers are so potent that it does not even register the wounds. It simply continues its high-pitched psychotic shriek for the Emperor. This is the true purpose of the Eversaur. The target's death is only part of the mission. The primary objective is terror. The High Lords want every single person in that spire, every guard, every cultist, every decadent noble to die in the most horrific way possible. They want the survivors of the regime to find this spire, to walk through a mile of human wreckage, a literal slaughterhouse, and to understand with chilling clarity the price of treason. The Eversaur is the message, and the message is there is no defense, there is no escape. There is only the Emperor's wrath. But this pace cannot be maintained. The Eversaur's body is a furnace, and it is burning itself to ash. The flood of superstimulants is destroying it from the inside. It finally corners the Air Primus in his adamantium-walled panic room. The assassin is a ruined thing. It is riddled with bullet holes. Black, toxic blood leaks from a dozen wounds. Its movements are becoming jerky, its shriek turning into a wet gurgle. It has fulfilled its mission. It has killed hundreds. The air is alone, weeping in the corner. The Eversaur stumbles its secondary heart, finally failing. The heir, seeing his chance, raises his plasma pistol and fires, blasting a searing hole through the assassin's chest. The assassin falls. The heir laughs a choked, hysterical sound. He has survived, but he has not. This is the Eversor's final, ultimate secret. It is a weapon even in death. As the Eversor's primary heart stops, a cascade of chemical reactions begins. The complex, volatile cocktail of combat drugs, stimulants, and toxins within its body, no longer regulated, goes critical. Its internal biology becomes a runaway reactor. The assassin's skin begins to bubble. A black-green toxic vapor hisses from its wounds. The heir's laugh catches in his throat. The Eversor's body detonates. It is not a simple explosion of fire. It is a bio-meltdown. A roiling cloud of hyper-potent neurotoxins and corrosive acids erupts from the corpse, filling the entire panic room in a fraction of a second. The adamantium walls that were meant to keep the assassin out now serve to keep the poison in. The Heir Primus and his last few guards do not even have time to scream. The toxin sears their lungs, melts their flesh from their bones, and stops their hearts. An Eversor's mission is not complete until every witness is dead. And in its final agonizing moment, it always ensures its own success. Its very corpse is a statement of intent. There is no escape. We speak of assassins who kill the body, the mind, and the organization, but there is one temple, the most secret and most dreaded, that houses a weapon designed to kill the soul. This is the Culexus Temple, and its operatives are the greatest abomination known to mankind. They are the pariahs, the soulless, the untouchables. In a galaxy teeming with life, every sentient creature has a presence in the warp. It is a flicker of spiritual energy, a soul. This is what allows for emotion, for faith, for connection. It is also what makes humanity vulnerable to the demonic, and what allows the Psyker to draw their power. The Culexus is born wrong. They are a genetic anomaly, a void in the fabric of reality. They have no soul. They have no presence in the warp. They are a blank, a psychic black hole in the shape of a human. And this absence is not a neutral quality. It is a violent, agonizing presence. This is the curse of the pariah gene. To a normal human, standing near a Culexus is deeply unsettling. It creates a feeling of unease, a cold dread, a sudden inexplicable sense of loss and depression. It is the feeling of your very spirit being diminished. Animals will howl and flee. Pious men will feel their faith curdle, their prayers turning to ash in their mouths. But to a Psyker, the presence of a Culexus is the ultimate unendurable torture. Imagine being in a room filled with light and sound, and suddenly a sphere of perfect, absolute silence and blackness appears. It doesn't just block the light, it devours it. It sucks the very air from your lungs, the warmth from your skin. This is what a Culexus is to a Psyker. Their connection to the warp, the very thing that defines them, is torn away. Their powers are not just nullified, they are unmade. The Psyker is left choking, blind, and naked in the void, their soul screaming as it is drawn towards the emptiness. This is the life of a Culexus. They are not recruited, they are imprisoned. From the moment they are discovered, often as children who cause all those around them to fall into deep suicidal depressions, or who inadvertently kill a local astropath with their mere presence, they are seized by the Imperium's black ships. They are treated not as humans, but as a resource more dangerous and valuable than uranium. They are brought to the Culexus Temple, a fortress of absolute silence, located according to some rumors on a dead moon in a system without a star. And here they are kept as prisoners. Their life is one of total, soul-crushing isolation. They cannot be guarded by normal humans who would go insane. They cannot be trained by normal masters. They are tended to by servitors, and on rare occasions by Sisters of Silence, the only other blanks in Imperial service. Their existence is a solitary hell. They live in specialized containment cells, their walls laced with psychic dampeners, not to keep psychers out, but to keep their own aura from leaching into the fortress. And they are never ever allowed to be seen without their primary tool and their eternal prison, the Animus Speculum. This is the great terrifying helmet that defines the Colexus. It is a massive insectoid piece of psychoreactive technology bolted and sealed around their heads. It is not just a mask. It is a siphon, a collector, and a focuser. The anima speculum's inner workings are a mesh of psychically null material that draws in the Colexus's negative aura, concentrating it, weaponizing it. Without it, their aura would simply kill anyone who came too close. With it, that soul-destroying emptiness can be aimed. This brings us to the ultimate horror of their existence. Imagine the scene: a psyker of immense power, a renegade astropath who has enslaved a city with his mind, or a chaos sorcerer channeling the energies of the warp to summon demons. He is a god in his own chambers, crackling with raw psychic lightning, his bodyguards bowing in terror. Then the door opens. The Colexus enters. It wears a form-fitting black sin-skin suit, but its true presence is the animus speculum, the great horned, multi-eyed helmet that seems to drink the light from the room. The psyker stops. His psychic lightning doesn't just vanish, it recoils, flowing back towards its source as if terrified. The sorcerer's eyes go wide. He begins to gasp, clutching his chest. To him, it feels as if a vacuum has been punched into reality. The air is cold. The voices of his demonic patrons are suddenly terrifyingly silent. His power is gone. He is just a man. He screams. It is a wet, choked sound. His eyes begin to bleed. He feels his soul, his very essence, being pulled, stretched and drained from his body, drawn like water into a siphon. The Colexus just stands there, tilting its head, its great, unblinking lenses fixed on him. The sorcerer collapses, convulsing on the floor. He is not just dying. His very self is being erased from existence, consumed by the absolute, pitiless void that is the Colexus assassin. The soulless have come for the soul. The Colexus is the Imperium's ultimate strategic countermeasure. In a galaxy where the greatest threat is not the alien, but the power of chaos, the Colexus is the definitive anti-chaos weapon. A legion of space marines can be brought to its knees by a single powerful demon. An entire army of the Imperial Guard can be broken, their minds shattered by a cabal of chaos sorcerers. A Vindicare can fire a bullet, but that bullet can be stopped by a shield of pure warp energy. A Kaleidus can infiltrate, but her mind can be read by a telepath. An Eversaur can rage, but its flesh can be twisted into new, agonizing shapes by a master of biomancy. The Colexus is immune. They are the witch hunters in their purest, most terrifying form. When a demon prince manifests on a shrine world, when a Waaagh is led by a weird boy orc of terrifying power, or when an elder farseer begins to weave the strands of fate against an Imperial campaign, the Colexus is unleashed. They walk through a psychic battlefield as a normal man walks through a light rain. The demonic screams, the illusions, the bolts of mindfire. They do not just fail to harm the Colexus, they cease to exist in its presence. The assassin is a walking zone of null, an area of reality, where the laws of the warp simply do not apply. This null field is their primary weapon, but the animus speculum allows them to weaponize it in two devastating ways. The first is how they hunt. The animus speculum is not just a focuser, it is a detector. It sees the galaxy not in light or heat, but in soul stuff. To the Colexus, the physical world is a gray, muted backdrop, but the souls of living things, that they see. A normal human is a dim, flickering candle. A space marine is a steady flame. A psyker is a blazing, blinding bonfire, a supernova of spiritual energy. A Colexus can track a single psyker across a continent, following the blazing trail of their soul through the ether. They are the bloodhounds of the spirit. When they find their prey, the second function of the animus speculum activates the attack. The device has been siphoning the raw warp energy and psychic emanations from the surrounding area, the fear of the populace, the background radiation of the immaterium, and most potently, the power being thrown at it by its psyker target. The animus speculum inhales this energy, draws it into its impossible null tech chambers, and then exhales it. It fires a beam, but it is not a laser. It is not plasma. It is a focused, coherent ray of anti-life. It is a beam of pure, weaponized emptiness. When this beam strikes a normal living creature, the effect is horrific. They do not burn or bleed. They simply cease. The beam snuffs out their soul, and the body, suddenly devoid of the spark that animates it, collapses into a dry, withered husk in less than a second. But when it strikes a psyker, the effect is apocalyptic. The beam of anti-soul energy strikes the blazing inferno of the psyker's spirit. The resulting detonation is not physical, but spiritual. The psyker is turned inside out. Their power, their soul, their very consciousness is annihilated in a blinding flash of psychic backlash that can kill every other living thing in the room. The Colexus, protected by its own soulless nature, stands calmly in the epicenter of this spiritual detonation, its dreadful work complete. And this leads to the most profound, tragic secret of their lives. A Vindicare experiences solitude, a Calidus experiences confusion, an Eversor experiences madness, the Colexus experiences total alienation. They are the ultimate pariah, not just in name, but in fact. They cannot have friends. They cannot have handlers in the traditional sense. A Vindicare can, at least in theory, sit in a room with another human. A Colexus cannot. Their very presence is a poison. The masters of their temple must communicate with them through reinforced bulkheads, via servitors, or through telescreens. They are reviled by the very Imperium they are sworn to protect. A pious sister of battle, a fanatic of the Imperial creed, will see a Colexus and feel her connection to the Emperor vanish. She will be filled with a sudden, overwhelming dread, a spiritual coldness that feels like the ultimate blasphemy. She will instinctively raise her flamer, seeing the Colexus not as an ally, but as an abomination, a creature that should not exist. And so they are always alone. They are transported in solitary shielded ships. They are deployed alone. They return to their silent, empty cells alone. They are the loneliest beings in a galaxy of trillions. They are the ghosts who hunt the witches, the soulless, who protect the souls of mankind. Their existence is the Imperium's darkest irony. To fight the monstrous soul-destroying powers of the warp, the Imperium has embraced its own equally monstrous soul-destroying void. The Colexus is a necessary, dreadful, and utterly tragic testament to the price of survival in a galaxy that has already lost its soul. The Imperium, in its endless grinding war for survival, has learned that a target is not always a person. Sometimes the most dangerous enemy is an idea, a piece of data, a bloodline. We have focused on the four great pillars of the Officio Assassinorum, the Vindica, Calidus, Eversor, and Colexus. They are the instruments of direct physical or spiritual assassination. But they are just the major temples, the ones whose actions, though secret, are at least visible. They are the bloody hand. The true secret lives of the Officio lie in the minor temples, the Clades, whose existence is so clandestine that even many inquisitors believe them to be mere rumor. These are the assassins who kill not with a bullet, but with a whisper, a number, or a single precisely engineered drop of fluid. First, there is the Temple Vanus. The assassins of this clade are never seen. They are the ultimate information brokers, data phantoms, and techno-saboteurs. Their recruits are not chosen for their physical prowess or their sociopathic tendencies, but for their cold, inhuman logic. They are often sourced from the gifted, obsessive children of the Adeptus Mechanicus individuals, who see the universe not as a collection of souls, but as a flow of pure, exploitable data. The life of a Venus operative is one of digital isolation. They exist within vast cogitator shrine halls, their minds hardwired into the temple's noospheric databanks. They do not infiltrate a palace, they infiltrate its network. A Venus assassination is a work of art. They do not kill a rebellious planetary governor, they simply ruin him. A Venus agent from a secure vault half a galaxy away will slip past the governor's data defenses like a ghost. He will not steal money. He will not shut down the power. He will do something far more subtle. He will access the planet's stock market and change a single critical algorithm, causing a catastrophic market crash that bankrupts the governor's noble supporters. Simultaneously, he will access the planetary defense grid. He will subtly alter the targeting solutions of the orbital weapons batteries, making it appear they are aiming inward at the planet's own cities. Finally, he will leak falsified but entirely plausible data logs to the governor's rivals' evidence, showing the governor is hoarding food, plotting to purge his own nobility, and planning to hand the planet over to a Xenos empire. Within 24 hours, the governor's planet is in flames. His allies have abandoned him, his rivals have declared a civil war, and his own populace is rioting in the streets. He is torn apart by his own people. The Vanus agent, having never left his chair, has executed an entire regime with a few keystrokes. He has killed not the man, but his power. Then there is the Temple Venenum. Where the Eversaw is a torrent of blunt force, the Venenum is the most subtle, patient, and terrifying of all. They are the masters of poison. Their recruits are bioalchemists, toxicologists of unparalleled genius. Their secret lives are spent in sterile, hermetic laboratories surrounded by bubbling vials, Xenos flora, and forbidden bioarcana. They do not just create poisons, they design them often for a single specific target. A Venenum assassin can create a toxin that is keyed to a specific genetic sequence. It can be introduced into a planet's water supply, remaining harmless to the millions who drink it, until it finds the one person it was designed for, the rebellious noble with a unique bloodline. That man will drink a glass of water, and his heart will simply quietly stop. They are masters of the long kill. A Venenum agent disguised as a medici servitor might inject a target with a slow poison, a masterpiece of malevolence. This toxin will do nothing for 20 years, but it is a genetic time bomb. It will be passed from the target to his children, and from his children to his grandchildren. And then on a predetermined date, the genetic trigger activates. An entire bloodline, an entire generation of a rival's family drops dead in a single, horrifying day. Their most dreaded creation is not a lethal poison, but a psychological one. They can create a chemical that, when inhaled, does not kill, but instead targets the sanity centers of the brain. It can induce uncontrollable paranoia, religious fanaticism, or blinding homicidal rage. They can turn a trusted advisor into a raving lunatic who murders his own master, or a charismatic leader into a paranoid wreck who purges his own loyal command structure. This is the true hidden depth of the Officio. They have clades that kill information. They have clades that kill bloodlines. And the darkest secret of all, even this is not the end. There are rumors, whispers even in the deepest halls of the Inquisition, of other darker other clades. Temples so secret they have no name. Clades that hunt targets within the warp. Clades that deal in temporal paradoxes. Clades that perhaps hunt the failures of the Emperor himself. The four major temples are the face of the Officio, a terrifying mask of death. But the minor temples and the rumored clades beyond them are the true face of the organization, a cold, calculating, and infinitely patient web of control, ensuring that nothing in the Imperium, not even an idea, can escape the Emperor's judgment. The Officio Assassinorum is built on a foundation of absolute perfection. Its operatives are honed to be flawless instruments, infallible weapons of the Emperor's will. But they are at their core living beings, and living beings can fail. For an Imperial assassin, failure is a sin beyond all others. It is not merely an error, it is a profound metaphysical betrayal. And the consequences are catastrophic. Imagine the Vindicare, the patient hunter, the one-shot, one-soul master. He is in position. His target, a charismatic alien ambassador secretly building a Xenos-human rebellion, steps into his crosshairs. The Vindicare breathes out his heart, is still, his mind is one with the litany of the shot. And he fires, and he misses. Perhaps a gust of freak wind, a 1 in a trillion atmospheric distortion, pushes the round a millimeter off target. It doesn't kill the ambassador. It shatters the plasteel window next to him, announcing the Vindicare's presence to the entire world. The target is alerted. The rebellion is driven underground, now hyper-vigilant and accelerated. The sector erupts into a war that will cost billions of lives, a war that should have been prevented by a single bullet. The Vindicator has not just failed his mission, he has failed the Imperium. Or consider the Kallidus deep in her role as a heretical Arch-Cardinal's most trusted advisor. She prepares for the final kill, her Citan phase sword hidden in her sleeve. But as she moves to strike a latent spark of the personality she has been wearing for a decade, a genuine flicker of affection for the monster she has lived with causes her to hesitate for a fraction of a second. It is enough. The Arch-Cardinal, his senses sharpened by dark powers, detects the betrayal. The Kallidus is exposed, she is captured. Now the enemy possesses a Kallidus assassin. They have polymorphine. They have a phase sword. But worse, they have a mind that contains the secrets of the temple, its codes, its procedures. The assassin is not just a failed agent. She is a catastrophic intelligence breach. In these instances, the Officio Assassinorum reacts with terrifying internal speed. There is no trial. There is no retrieval mission. There is no forgiveness. A failed assassin is a broken tool. A captured assassin is a loaded gun pointed back at the Imperium. The order that goes out is not for rescue. It is for sanitization. This is the internal secret war, the hunt for their own. The Grand Master will unleash another assassin, often from a different temple, to hunt the first. A Vindicator who misses his shot will find himself suddenly, inexplicably, in the crosshairs of another Vindicator, a purifier sent to erase his shame. The most dreaded of these conflicts are the inter-temple hunts. When the Kallidus is captured, the Officio might not send another Kallidus to infiltrate. They will send a Vindicator with one simple order: kill the target. And kill Operative Lachesis. The mission-critical asset is the weapon, not the operative. If you cannot kill her, destroy the entire complex. The result is a lethal silent game of cat and mouse, a duel between the galaxy's two most perfect predators. A Kallidus, having escaped her captors, is now hunted by a Vindicator. She the master of disguise and close-quarters combat, versus he the master of patience and long-range death. She knows his tactics, he knows hers. She must stay in the shadows, constantly changing her face, trying to get close. He must stay distant, trying to predict her one fatal mistake. It is a chess game, played with lives, a secret war fought in the ruins of the first. This underscores the final tragic truth of their secret lives. There is no retirement from the Officio Assassinorum. There is no after. An assassin does not serve for 20 years and then receive a pension and a quiet home on a farm world. They are too valuable. They are too dangerous. They know too much. Their indoctrination is absolute, but the Temple Masters are pragmatists. They know that a mind, even one that has been shattered and rebuilt, is still a mind. It can crack. It can degrade. Service is eternal, ending only in one of two ways. The first and most common is death in the line of duty. An Eversor finally succumbing to bio-meltdown. A Vindicator caught by a counter-sniper. A Kallidus discovered and killed. This is the good death, the honorable end. The second is decommissioning. An assassin who grows too old, whose reflexes slow, whose mind shows the slightest sign of instability or identity creep. They are not given a medal. They are thanked for their service, told to report to the Medica Bay for a rejuvenate treatment, and are quietly, painlessly euthanized. Their bodies are rendered down their genetic material, stored, their equipment sterilized, and passed on. They are a tool. And when a tool is no longer useful, or when it breaks, it is discarded. There is no road back. There is no escape. The moment a child enters the nameless halls, their life is forfeit. They will serve, they will kill, and they will die unknown and unremembered, a ghost in service to an ungrateful empire. An assassin is a solitary weapon. Their entire being is honed for a singular purpose, executed in absolute isolation. But there are horrors in the galaxy that a single blade, a single bullet cannot defeat. There are targets so powerful, so entrenched, so monstrous, that they require not a scalpel, but a collection of scalpels, all striking at the same instant. A heretical war master who has turned an entire sector protected by a legion of traitor marines, a cabal of psychers, and an impenetrable fortress. A demon prince, a creature of raw physical power and mind-bending warpcraft. For these, the High Lords of Terror authorize the formation of an execution force. It is the rarest of all deployments, a gathering of ghosts, a temporary alliance of the temples. And it is for all involved a logistical and psychological nightmare. The assembly is not a meeting of comrades. It is a containment of volatile, mutually incompatible assets. In the sterile, pressurized briefing room of a black, unmarked strike cruiser, the four assassins are brought together for the first and only time. The air is thick with a palpable, sickening tension. The Vindicator stands in the furthest, darkest corner of the room, utterly still, his rifle already in his hands. He has not moved. He is radiating a cold aura of pure, focused patience. He detests this. The room is loud, not with sound, but with presence. The Kalidas leans against a bulkhead, her arms crossed. Her features are plain, unremarkable, a face chosen to be forgotten. But her eyes are constantly moving, assessing, judging. She is analyzing the others as she would a target. She trusts no one. She knows the Vindicator could kill her from a mile away. She knows the Eversaur is a bomb waiting to detonate. And she keeps her distance from it. The Colexus stands alone in the center of the room, a pillar of absolute dread. The Vindicator and the Kalidas feel the assassin's null presence like a physical weight. It makes their skin crawl. It creates a cold, hollow ache behind their eyes, a feeling of sudden, profound emptiness. Their indoctrinated loyalty to the Emperor feels distant, their sense of self frayed. They instinctively despise it. And then there is the fourth member. It is not in the room. It is the room's primary problem. In the adjoining chamber, separated by a triple-thick adamantium and plasteel bulkhead, is the Eversaur. It is not in cryo-sleep. It is hot. It has been partially awakened, its body simmering with combat drugs kept just below the threshold of psychotic rage. The only sound from the other side is a low, wet, rhythmic thud. Thud, thud, as the assassin in its drug-fueled half-consciousness repeatedly, methodically bashes its own head against the bulkhead. The Vindicator finds the noise distracting. The Kalidas sees it as a liability. The Colexus alone is unaffected. It feels neither the psychic taint of the Eversaur's rage nor the biological revulsion. It feels nothing. This is the team. The patient hunter, the master of deceit, the soulless, and the beast. A team composed of 4 individuals who under any other circumstance would be trying to kill each other. Their secret life as a team is a study in forced, violent incompatibility. The Kalidas cannot read the Colexus. The Vindicator's senses are overwhelmed by the Eversaur's stench of chemicals and the Colexus's aura of dread. It is an orchestra of 4 soloists, each playing a different clashing symphony of death. But when they are unleashed, this horrific, discordant combination is unstoppable. The target is the demon prince Makarth, the soul eater holding a ritual on the high tower of a corrupted shrine world, protected by a bubble of psychic energy and a legion of possessed cultists. The operation begins. The Kalidas is already there. She has been on the planet for 6 months, disguised as the demon's most trusted ritual priestess. She is by his side, whispering false adulations. Her mission: do not kill, just sabotage. At the critical moment of the ritual, she switches a sacred text, speaking a single disruptive Enuntia verse she was taught by the Temple Vanus. The demon prince roars as his ritual stumbles. The psychic shield around the tower flickers. That is all the Vindicator needs. 2 miles away from the rubble of a shattered cathedral, he has been waiting for 72 hours. The flickering shield opens a 1-second window. He does not aim for the demon prince. That is impossible. He aims for the Cabal, the circle of secondary psychers who are maintaining the shield. He fires 4 shots, thwip, 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 thwip. In less than 1.2 seconds, 4 hellfire rounds find their targets. 4 of the psychers collapse, their heads exploding in acidic fire. The psychic shield does not just fail, it detonates. A wave of raw, uncontrolled warp energy erupts from the tower, and into this wave it steps. The Colexus. The Hell Fury pod containing the Eversaw has already impacted the tower's base, but the Colexus was inserted first. It walks onto the ritual platform, and its null aura hits the demon prince like a physical blow. The creature of the warp, a being of pure psychic energy and belief, screams. It is a sound of pure, unadulterated agony. Its power is being siphoned. Its connection to the Imperium is being severed. It is being unmade. The demonic energy that holds its physical form together begins to gutter and fail. The demon prince is now vulnerable. It is weakened. It is grounded. And that is when the 4th instrument plays its solo. The Eversaw, having carved a red path of absolute slaughter through the tower's 500-strong guard, bursts through the floor. It is a screaming black-red blur of pure chemical-fueled hatred. Its mind has only one image, the demon prince. It does not care about the psychic energies. It does not feel the Colexus's aura. It feels only rage. It launches itself at the weakened demon prince. Its neuro-gauntlet claws extended its executioner pistol, firing explosive shards. The Kalidas phases out of existence, her phase sword activated to escape the ensuing carnage. The Vindicator calmly watches from his perch, placing single perfect shots into the daemon's larger exposed vulnerabilities. The Colexus simply stands, its animus speculum aimed, draining the creature's very essence. And the Eversaw tears it to pieces. The combination is perfect. The Kalidas provides the opening. The Vindicator dismantles the defenses. The Colexus makes the monster mortal, and the Eversaw delivers the killing blow. They are an execution force. 4 warring, incompatible shadows who for a few terrible moments become the most efficient killing machine in the galaxy. The Daemon Prince is banished. The sector is saved. The execution force disbands as quickly as it formed its members, melting back into the shadows, each returning to their own private, isolated hell. And this is where we find the truest and most tragic of their secret lives. Not in the glory of the kill, but in the crushing, silent void that comes after. We must look back at the journey and ask the question, what is the final price of such service? It is the total and irreversible loss of the self. They have given not just their lives, but their very humanity to the Emperor. Look at the Vindicator operative Praesel back in his grey, soundproofed cell. He has made an impossible shot. He has saved 1 billion souls, and he feels nothing. He has been so thoroughly conditioned, so completely hollowed out, that he has lost the very capacity for emotion. He cannot feel pride. He cannot feel relief. He cannot feel joy. He has traded his human heart for a perfect, steady hand. He is a machine of patience, and his reward for saving the world is to be returned to an empty box to wait. He has lost his feeling. Look at the Eversaw, the raging beast. It is not returned to a hero's welcome. It is dragged still, thrashing and screaming back to the cryo vaults. Its wounds are crudely stapled shut by servitors. Its chemical-burned mind is given no peace. It is flash-frozen once more, its consciousness trapped in a black, freezing, endless nightmare of rage and pain. It is an animal, a rabid dog kept in a state of perpetual torment, its agony the fuel for the Imperium's survival. It has lost its sanity. Look at the Colexus, the soulless pariah. Its mission is over. It is led back to its silent, isolated cell. It has walked among demons and felt nothing. It has stood beside its allies and felt nothing. It is as it has always been, utterly alone. Its tragedy is the deepest of all. It had no humanity to lose. It was born a void, and it will die a void. Its service changes nothing. Its sacrifice is its very existence. It has lost everything from the moment of its birth. But perhaps the most poignant tragedy is that of the Kalidas. Operative Lachesis. The shapeshifter is in a sterile sanitation chamber after her mission. The psychic hood is lowered onto her head. The temple's mind scourges begin their work, burning away the residual personality of the ritual priestess she portrayed, cleansing her of the taint of chaos, reinforcing her core loyalties. But this time, the process hits a snag. The mental purge in its violent scouring accidentally unearths something. A deep-buried memory fragment from before the temple, before the scholar Progenium, a life she was not supposed to remember. For a fraction of a second, the Kalidas, the woman who has been 100 different people, the master of lies, the hollow shell remembers. She is not Lachesis. She is Anya. She is 6 years old. She is on a world whose name is Lost, a world with a warm yellow sun. She is running in a field of tall red grass, her lungs burning, laughing. She can smell the rain on the air. She is chasing a small winged creature, a local pet. She falls scraping her knee, and a woman's face leans into view. A kind face. Gentle hands. A voice. "It's all right, my little hawk. It's all right. Mother." The memory is so real, so vivid, so warm. It is a feeling the assassin has not known for a century. A feeling of love, of safety, of self. A tear traces a path down the assassin's cheek. The psychic scourge, a robed telepath, notes the anomaly. A spike in emotional output, a deviation. He frowns behind his mask. This is weakness. This is a flaw in the weapon. He adjusts the settings on his console. He increases the intensity. The Kalidas's body arches in the chair. She lets out a single choked gasp. And the memory is gone. Burned away. The field of red grass turns to ash. The kind face dissolves. The name Anya becomes a meaningless sound. The warmth is replaced by the familiar, cold, sterile loyalty of the temple. Operative Lachesis slumps back. Her face blank. The tear on her cheek is the only evidence that for a fleeting second, a human being had existed inside the assassin. She has lost her identity. This is the ultimate price. They are not heroes. They are tools. Even when they succeed, their victories are not their own. Their triumphs are claimed by the High Lords, by the Inquisition, by the local Lord Commander, who takes credit for the sudden, fortunate collapse of the enemy. They are the knives that are wiped clean and put back in the dark. They are the poison vials emptied and discarded. They are the necessary, terrible, and unacknowledged sin of the Imperium. They trade their souls so that humanity might for one more day keep its own. We have walked the silent halls of the temples of terror. We have watched a human child be harvested, broken, and remade. We have seen them stripped of their names, their memories, their love, and their hate, and seen those voids filled with a cold, absolute, and inhuman purpose. We have followed them on their secret lives, a life spent in a filthy ventilation duct heart, slowed to a crawl, waiting 3 weeks for a single 4-second window to deliver the Emperor's judgment. A life spent wearing another's face, living a lie for decades, raising a family only to murder them in their sleep when the coded signal finally arrives. A life spent in a frozen, chemical-filled coffin, existing only as a vessel for a manufactured, agonizing rage, a life that is nothing but a series of screams, punctuating an endless cold void. A life spent in total, absolute isolation, a prisoner of one's own soulless nature, reviled by the very people you protect. Your only purpose to be the void that stares back into the abyss. This is the truth of the Officio Assassinorum. Their secret life is not a life. It is not an existence. It is a state of damnation. It is a hell of duty, a perpetual unacknowledged sacrifice, in which the currency is not blood, but the soul itself. They are the ultimate paradox of the Imperium. They are the monsters created to hunt the monsters. They are the heretical solution to the problem of heresy. They are the soulless sent to protect the souls of mankind. In their existence, we see the Imperium of man reflected in its truest, most terrible form. The Imperium is not a shining beacon of hope. It is a vast, rotting, colossal edifice teetering on the brink of oblivion. And it survives. It survives because it is willing to do what its enemies do. It is willing to sacrifice its own humanity to fight the inhuman. It is willing to become a tyrant to fight tyranny. It is willing to take its own innocent, loyal children and twist them into inhuman weapons, all for the sake of one more day. The assassins are the living embodiment of that horrific, necessary compromise. They are the sin that allows the ecclesiarchy to preach of virtue. They are the lie that allows the Imperium to claim the truth. They are the silent, brutal crime upon which all of Imperial justice is built. We are left with the final terrible question. When that Vindicare operative Praesil finally squeezes the trigger, is he a hero or is he a monster? Is he saving 1 billion souls from the horror of a sector-wide war, or is he damning his own by performing an act of cold, calculated, inhuman murder? In the grim darkness of the far future, the most tragic answer is yes, he is both. He is the savior and the damned. He is the hero whose name can never be spoken, the martyr whose sacrifice can never be acknowledged. He is the monster that guards the flock. These are the secret lives of the Imperial assassins. They are the ghosts in the machine, the nameless, faceless guardians of an empire of 1 million worlds. Their names will never be carved onto the great monuments of terror. No statues will be raised in their honor. No children will be taught their deeds. They are the phantoms who pay the ultimate price for humanity's survival, and their only reward is anonymity. Their only monument is the silence that follows their mission. And as their missions end, as they are recalled to their dark fortresses, the Imperium endures. It continues to grind on, unaware and ungrateful. The Vindicare returns to his cell and begins to clean his rifle, waiting for the next name. The Kalidas, her mind wiped clean of the family she just destroyed, studies the face of her next target. The Eversaw, its broken body lowered back into the ice, shrieks one last time before the frost claims it. And the Colexus, the eternal pariah, walks his solitary path down a cold, lightless corridor, his dreadful work complete. They are the Emperor's most terrifying weapons, and their secret is not just how they kill. It is the price they were forced to pay, the humanity they were forced to sacrifice, long before they ever aimed their weapon, or donned their disguise, or unleashed their rage. They are the true unremembered and eternal victims of the 41st millennium.